guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing something that I normally don't do on this channel, but I want to branch out. So we're going to show you how to make sourdough bread. I'm going to try to give as many tips and tricks as I can because a lot of people don't give a lot of tips and tricks. I did have a friend come over. She was looking at everything. I was telling her everything and she's like, I've been watching YouTube videos. I'm not getting any of this information. So I'm going to try to give as much information I can. Right now my husband's trying to put the kids to bed, so they might be coming in and out, but I'm going to try. So first thing I want to talk about is bowls. I'm going to start from here. These plastic bowls, I like these in the summer. These are better than these ceramic bowls, whatever. I got this at Marshall's like almost 10 years ago. These right now during the winter are better because they're holding heat better than the plastic, but it just depends on where you're at, what bowl is going to be good for you to use when you're making your bread. And it's very trial and error. So you got to kind of have a few fails in order to figure out which bowl will be good to use. And it's good to have a bigger bowl because it's going to rise. It's going to fill up this entire bowl. This entire bowl will be full of bread. The next thing I want to talk about is jars for starter. This one, I don't even know when we got these jars. I have two. My other one has a starter in it, this one. I do like this one because you can close it. I never close it. You want the starter to have air. So it's always propped open. The good thing that you should probably do is weigh the jar when it's empty. Because if you're going to have leftover starter in it, you need to know the totals. Like let's say this is 100 grams. And when you weigh it, it says 150. It means you have 50 grams of starter. And so you triple the 50. I will get to that. But you can use one of these jars. And if you're going to do a mason jar, I would say a bigger mason jar, but also using a wide mouth. Only because when you're mixing your starter, it's easier to mix it than with a regular opening. It's just easier to mix it in here. Also, when you're trying to pour it out, it's just easier than trying to fit a spatula or something in this hole. I would prefer a wide mouth jar. Also, you can use plastic containers. Our Thai place, when we get soup, they come in these containers. Keep them. Put your starter in here. You can totally do it. And then when you're done, just place the lid. It's not even closed. It's barely resting on there. Perfect. It works great. I use these a lot for my water. I'll show you tomorrow because I use these for that. But these, I love these and always have them on hand. And also too, when you do your starter, let's say you have it in the mason jar, and you want to put the lid on, just place it. It's not tied on at all, not screwed on at all. Or you can get a coffee filter, put it on top, and put a rubber band around the rim. It has to have air. If it doesn't have air, and if you seal the lid, when you open it, there's going to be so much pressure, it's going to shoot out and it's going to make a mess. Also, I do have another tip about the sourdough starter. So this is my sourdough starter right now. It's in this jar. It's been in this jar for a few days. I really need to get it out of here. But if you think that you put it in your jar and you think it might overflow out of it, because it has happened to me before, put it on top of a plate and have it sitting on your counter. Because if it gets on the plate, it's not on your counter. The plate is easier to clean than your counter. So I would just put it on a plate. I mean, if you want, put it always on a plate. Just to be on the safe side. I mean, it doesn't hurt to just put it on the plate. When I whisk everything, mind you, I use just a regular old spatula when I take it out of the jars. This is the whisk I use. I use the normal sourdough whisk. I feel like this just works better in my opinion. I have used a regular whisk before. The only bad thing, it kind of just gets clumped up inside, and so you have to kind of open it, take it out. It's just easier with a sourdough whisk, or you can just use your hand. You don't have to have this in order to do it. It makes it easier, but you can just use your hand. You don't have to have this whisk. You don't have to have this. You can just use your hand. Also, these bowls work great. I love them so much. I also want to try to learn how to make these little fabric covers myself. These work phenomenally, but you do not have to have this. You can, which I have done this lots and lots of times. I only have 3 of those. Just use a regular bowl. It's just like my other one. It's just smaller. And you just get a towel, put it on the bottom, and I'll tell you tomorrow like the pros and cons about this. But this works great. This works perfectly fine. You put the flour in there, put your bread in there. It's pretty much the same concept as this. It's just with a bowl and a towel. And then also I wanted to talk about like knives. Regular bread knife works perfectly fine. It's no problem. But my mom got me a new knife for Christmas. This is the knife. And it has a little plastic guard on it. And the blade goes down this way. So the blade's here. So when you're cutting in this direction down. I love this for slicing bread. But the only bad thing is you can't cut a loaf of bread like down the middle with this. You can't, because the bread would hit this side. So if I do have to cut it down the middle, this is the one I go for. I've heard that storing your bread in a bag makes it last longer. I do not know. I do not store mine in a bag. This came with the bowls. It came with all the original sourdough starter kit. I don't use them because I just put mine on a cake dish in a dome and it lasts us a week. You're going to want a scale. You are going to want a scale. The scale is going to be your best friend for measuring your sourdough starter, the bread, everything. Scales are very, very, very important. I really didn't think they would be, but they are very important. Also, when you bake your bread, which mind you, I bake mine in a Dutch oven. In my oven, I have always used the Dutch oven, and I use like a regular Dutch oven. I don't do the ones that have like the short bottoms and then the big lid. I use a regular Dutch oven, and inside you can put the bread on parchment paper and put it inside, but like my parchment paper, my heat limit is 425. I bake my bread at 450. It's not safe to do it. So I use the silicone, which this also came with the bag, the bowls, everything. So it's this silicone. I have been using this for a year, so there's a little bit of stainage. Some of them, it's a little bit ripped on the holes. I mean, I use this thing almost every single day. I use this all the time. And it's nice because it has the bread on the inside. When it sits, these sit outside of the Dutch oven, so it's easy to pick it up. I do recommend this over parchment paper only because parchment paper does have the heat temp. Like it can only be up to 425. And then lastly, my flour, which this is my flour. I use bread flour because I have noticed I do have people that buy bread from me that have celiac. The bread flour, I don't know what it is. The bread flour is better. It also makes the bread rise better, and also the sourdough, it helps with celiac. Like everybody that I have that has celiac, they've never had an issue. They've never had a flare up. And then I just use regular salt. And then also like for my starter, I use room temp water. If I know I'm going to do starter, I'll just get this cup out and just sit it on my counter for a little bit. Make sure it's at room temp. I don't like it hot. I don't really need it to be hot because where I live, it's warmer than normal. So right now I'm going to do my starter, and I'm going to do it in this mason jar, just really for the purposes of the video. But you're going to turn on your scale, put the glass down. This glass is 447 grams. If anything, put it in your notes app, because if you're always just going to use the same type of jar, they're pretty much the same weight and it really doesn't matter. You're going to clear it out. Clear out, there we go. And my old starter, I'm going to grab, I like to do 100 grams. I don't like doing like 75 and try and do 75 of flour, 75. Do 100 grams. It's an even number. So I'm gonna scoop 100 grams into my mason jar. And you don't have to be precise. If it's 101, it's 101. It's not that big, it's not that serious. Oh, here comes one child. Hey honey, I'm literally at 101. Okay, so I'm just gonna put that down. So I'm at 100 grams. I'm gonna clear it out again. So it's now at 0 grams. So now I'm going to grab my flour, which mind you, I don't actually weigh anymore because I've been doing it for a while. When I see how much is in the jar, and I always have the same size scoop, and I immediately know how much I'm gonna need. But like, since right now I'm actually having to weigh, I don't know how much I need in here. Okay, there's 100. Now I'm gonna clear it out again. So this is what it looks like so far. So right here, there's starter. This is the flour. Okay, so now I'm gonna do my 100 grams of water, which again, it doesn't have to be exact. A lot of people say you need to be exact, but it has a little bit of give in the recipe. 100 grams. So now this is what it looks like. It has the starter, the flour, and the water, and all you're gonna do is mix it. So I'm gonna get my spatula, which still has starter from in the jar. Just mix it up. Mix it up and make sure it's not too dry, because sometimes the flour can make it really dry. If it does end up really dry, which it doesn't happen too often, just put like a dash of water. Just the little bit of water does go a long way. Okay. So that is all mixed together. I'll wipe it off on the rim. Okay. So now that's where it's at. You can get like a rubber band just to see like how much it'll rise, but I don't do that. I mean, there's also the marks on the side, or you can get a Sharpie, because the Sharpie will come off the glass, so you could always mark it too. But I'm just gonna put my lid like that and just put it on my counter. And then I will bake bread in the morning. We'll make bread in the morning and bake it Sunday morning. So I will be back when I do the next step. Hi, welcome back. So this is my starter from yesterday that I fed. It did get up to about here, so now it's sunk. Unpopular opinion, I don't do discard. I don't ever throw away any of my discard. I use all of it. I have never had a problem, in all honesty. So I don't use it until it starts to sink. When it's rising, it means it's fermenting. When it goes down, it means it's pretty much ready to be worked with. So I need to grab my bowl, which I have 4 bowls out because someone messaged me last night saying they wanted bread. So I'm gonna make, she needs 2, and I was gonna make 1 for Super Bowl Sunday. I was gonna make a jalapeno, but I don't like cooking in odd numbers because I'm like, I have 2 Dutch ovens, might as well just make an extra. So I'm gonna make 2 regular, 2 jalapeno, and I'm gonna show you how I do that. So I turned on my scale. I zeroed it out, so it's at 0 grams with this bowl on it right now. So I'm gonna take out 150 grams of starter from this jar and put it in the bowl. Okay, I'm at 153, but that's no problem. And I'm not gonna use any more of this starter because I wanna show you guys how I refeed my starter. So I mean, there's some left, but I don't think there's even 100 grams in there, so gotta do that. So now I'm gonna do the rest of these with starter, and then I will come back and do the water. Okay, so all my bowls have starter now, all 150 grams. So now I'm putting the bowl back on there, clearing it out to 0. These are the containers I showed you yesterday that I use sometimes for my starter. I did my water, I warmed it up in the microwave. I know how long it needs to be in my microwave. My microwave is about 1.5 minutes for that, especially this month, because this much water will be for 2. It needs to be around 90 degrees. This is around that. You don't want it hotter than 90 degrees because it can kill your sourdough starter, and you don't want to do that. So right now I need to put 350 grams of water in the bowl. Okay, 350 grams in here. And now I'm gonna grab my next bowl, clear it out. I should have a little more than 350 grams in this one. Okay, you're gonna wanna put this to the side. Oh, I need to put some water in this one, because this is, you dip your hand in here when you do stretch and pull so the bread doesn't get as stuck to your hand. So I use the rest of this for stretch and pulls. So I just need to put a little bit of water in here because I don't like, when I do like jalapeno and regular, when you do the jalapeno, you don't want it in the same container that you dip your hand in for regular, because you don't want the jalapeno in that one. So separate the water. So now I'm gonna move the scale to the side. And now it's time to whisk all of it. I need to bring the camera closer to show you guys what I'm doing. Okay, so this is what the starter and the water look like as of right now. So now I'm gonna get my whisk, and I'm just gonna whisk it until I feel like all of it is dissolved. Sometimes there'll still be clumps, but
I feel like if you're too vigorous, you can get the water outside the bowl, and instead of making a mess, I mean, if you have a few clumps, it really, to me, doesn't make much of a difference. And then the bubbles are good. That means that it's doing its thing. And that's what it's gonna look like. So now, to the next one. Okay, so now the bread is ready. So I'm going to put this back on the scale, zero it out. I'm gonna grab my salt, and measure 8 grams. If it goes a little bit over, it's not that big of a deal. There's 6, 8. Now, time for flour. So I keep mine in a big bucket because I usually buy a 25-pound bag of flour. So I need to zero this out and put 500 grams of bread flour. Boom. 508, that's fine. Okay, so I don't need the scale anymore, so I'm gonna take the scale away. So now, which I'm gonna just start with this one since it's already in here. We need to whisk all of this and make it a shaggy dough. So before, I didn't really know what a shaggy dough was. I had to watch a lot of videos because they don't really show it very much. But shaggy dough, you don't want it to be an actual dough ball. You want it to be kind of clumped, not fully. You want it fully incorporated, but it's not going to form like a ball. You don't want it to be a ball. This is shaggy dough. This is it. This is what it is. So I have already washed my hands. And I try to get as much of the dough off the whisk as I can. And now the bread sits for an hour.
Okay, so now they're all mixed. Wow, I got the sun right in my face. Woo! And I'll just put all 4 grouped together, like so. And I generally use a bath towel to just sit on top. I don't wet it, especially right now. I've noticed right now, if I wet it, my bread doesn't want to rise, like it's too much water. So I just put a dry towel over. And then I usually get my tablet because I have all my timers on my tablet. And I'll just go to my timer app, see like I have a bunch of little timers. And I will click, I have my 1 hour sourdough rise. So now this is going to sit for an hour. And I will come back to do the first stretch and fold so you guys can see how it looks. Okay, so it's been an hour. So I am going to do my stretch and folds, which mind you, this is usually when I add my jalapenos and my cheddar and all that, but I don't have any jalapenos. I thought I had some cut, but I didn't. So after the stretch and fold, I'm gonna add it for 3 folds. I sometimes add it for 4, sometimes I only add it for 3. It really just depends, but they're gonna be like freshly cut, so I'm only gonna do 3. So I do have my 2 cups. I'm not really going to worry about that right now because I'm going to do stretch and folds on all 4 without add-ins. So I'm going to do that real quick, but I'm going to put you over in a top view so you guys can see how I do my stretch and folds.
Okay, here's my bowl. Here's my water bowl. I'm going to dip my fingers in the water just so they don't get as stuck. And I will scoop my hand underneath, grab, pull up, and down. I don't pull up as high as I can. I don't do that, and I only do it with one hand. So you just keep turning the bowl. You do it 4 times. So that's 3 and then 4. And you don't have to worry like there's some flour right here. That will get incorporated in the next stretch and fold pretty much. So now I'm just going to switch bowls and I'm going to do the same thing for the other 3. You don't have to be super careful. The bread is very forgiving. You wouldn't think so, but it is. See, that's 4. Whoa, hit my stand.
stretch and folds. So I'm gonna put my towel back up on my bowls. And I'm gonna get my timer, and sometimes I'll write down like literally the word stretch and put 1, 2, 3, 4, because sometimes I forget how many I've done. So I'm gonna get back on my timer and put it for 30 minutes instead of an hour. It's 30 minutes between stretch and folds now. So I've done 1 stretch and fold. I need to do 3 more. But now I need to cut up my jalapenos. Usually I put them in a blender because I usually like cut it up and I can fill up one of these containers and I just pour them in. But I'm really only gonna do like 2, so I'm gonna hand cut them, but I wear gloves. So I'm gonna grab my things and I'll show you how I cut up my jalapenos. Okay, so I've washed my jalapenos. I grabbed my glove and I only put it on my left hand because it's really the only hand that touches the jalapenos. I have had jalapeno in both my eyes at the same time and it really, really hurts. So I am extra careful when it comes to jalapenos. This bowl right here is just for like the jalapeno tops, the seeds, all that stuff. And then this one, I'm gonna put up my chopped up jalapenos. I'm telling you, these containers, lifesavers. So I'm only gonna do 4 jalapenos because we just bought them and they're gonna be pretty hot. So, and if you want it to even be hotter, I would put like a serrano in the mix. So you can do like 4 jalapenos. Let's say 4 jalapenos, and then you want it like extra hot. Just grab like 1 serrano or even hotter, 2 serranos, and literally like put them all in this bowl chopped up, and just like put the lid on and then shake it all together. So then it's all like dispersed evenly throughout. And I'm not picky. I keep some seeds. I'm not gonna stand here and take every single seed out. My family can handle some heat, so it'll be fine. Now all I have to do is mince them. There's no like right or wrong way to do this, I don't think, because you're putting it in the bread. It don't have to be pretty cuts and all that. I do like putting them in a food processor or in a blender because then you just have to stand there and push a button and let it do the work for you. But that's usually when I'm doing like a bunch of them at a time, I'll do that. I don't normally just do 4 anymore. I used to, but this will be fine. Now it's all chopped. So now I'm gonna put it in this container. Put the lid on, and I'm gonna put this in the fridge for whenever I need to add it. I already have the cheese done. I shredded an entire block by hand. I had 3 of these completely full. It took me about 30 minutes. My husband just bought me a salad shooter, so I don't have to do this anymore. But it's gonna be so much easier when I can just pour this in. So this is gonna go in the fridge. These will go in the trash, and now I'm gonna go wash my hands, and then we'll see how much longer until I need to do my next stretch and fold. I quickly want to go over how I wash my hands, especially because I have nails. You know, the sourdough is gonna get stuck underneath, that jalapenos, all that. I use one of these brushes. You can get them really cheap everywhere. It really doesn't matter. I put soap on it and I just scrub, and I scrub my hands because especially the gloves, sometimes jalapenos is gonna get in there no matter what. And also the sourdough, like it can get in there. So it's always good to use one of these with soap, like just really dig, because then also too, you know for sure they're clean, and 2, you know for sure there's no jalapeno, there's no sourdough stuck in there or anything. These things are life-saver. I always keep one in a dish by my sink. So I'm gonna wash my hands, and I should have, let's see how much longer until my next stretch and fold. I still have 20 minutes, so I'm gonna use those 20 minutes to clean, and then I will be back to do my second stretch and fold. But that is when I will add the jalapenos and the cheese, so I will show that when I get to that point. Okay, so now it's been 30 minutes, and I need to add the jalapeno and the cheese to just 2 of the bowls. So I use a spoon. I used to pour it, but it kind of just falls in one spot. So you can get a spoon and just sprinkle it as much as you want. That feels like it's good to me only because I'm gonna add 2 more times. So I'm gonna do 1 more, and that's good. And then cheese, I just grab it, sprinkle. Just however much you want. It's really to your preference. If you want it extra cheesy, put more. If you want it extra spicy, put more jalapeno. If you don't want it even spicier, put serranos, put grilled chili flakes. I mean, you could do whatever you want. So now I have my 2 waters. I always make sure that when I do stretch and folds and I have jalapeno, I do the plain first. I always do the plain first because I don't want residue of jalapeno on my hand when I do the regular. So this is the one I was using, so I'm just gonna reuse it again for stretch and folds, same exact way that I was showing you. It does look wetter because it sat for that hour. And I'll bring you guys closer so you can see that this gets incorporated. They usually incorporate things after they like lay it out and they put everything, but it makes it only in chunks that it's in. This way it's evenly dispersed throughout the bread. So I'm gonna bring you guys closer to see like it gets folded into the bread. Okay, so this is what it looks like for right now. So I'm just gonna dip my hand in my water. This is gonna be for the jalapeno. And I'm gonna scoop underneath, pull it up and put it in. See, it folds it into the bread. And that's really what you want. You want to pretty much every bite to taste jalapeno, to taste cheese. And I feel like the other way, it doesn't really do that. So now it's in there. So now I'm gonna get my other bowl and do the same thing. And then put the towel back on, and then I'm gonna come and do this 2 more times. Just finished doing all of my stretch and folds. I did lightly damp the towel because it's starting to get warm here, and I've noticed my bread has tried to start to like kind of dry out by the time it like touches the towel. I don't know if the towel is also taking moisture out of the bread. I don't know. It's just lightly down. It's not very wet. It's just light. So this is gonna sit until literally I notice that they're bubbling because the bread is touching. That's when I know I need to roll it out, and I put them in the fridge all night long. So you could do this at night, right before bed, let it rise all night. In the morning, roll it out and put it in the fridge for like 3 hours. I would say 3 hours. I think 3 hours is good because it continues to rise in the fridge. So I'm gonna let them sit all day. Tonight, before we go to bed, is when I roll everything out, clean everything up, put them in the fridge. 5 in the morning, I get up, I pop them out, and then I bake them. So I will come back when it is time to roll these bad boys out. Okay, so it's now time to roll the bread up. First, I want to feed my starter for tomorrow. So I have my jar that I was using for the video to show like how to feed it. So this is what it's looking like right now. Just, there's not that much in there. So let's put this up here. Okay, 598, there was 447, so there's about 150 grams in here. So I'm gonna put 150 grams of flour and 150 grams of water.
Now, both my starters are ready for tomorrow. I don't think I'm making anything tomorrow, but it's good to have it done. Okay, now I'm gonna prep everything. So first it's clean the counter. Now I have my bowls here. These are the bowls that they're gonna rest in all night. And I do have the one bowl with the towel. That's because I have 4 breads. I only have 3 of these, so I do have to use that. So I use my bread flour and I just sprinkle it as much as I want, really, just so the bread doesn't get stuck to the fabric. So we'll put that on there, and then you do the same thing to the towel. Not hard. Okay. So now flour the counter. Okay. I do use one of these to scoop it out of the bowl. And then another tip I have, if you do one with inclusions and regular, do the regular first, just in case like a jalapeno gets stuck on the table or something you just don't notice, you don't want it in this loaf. Do the inclusion ones after you do the regular loaves. And then also don't wear rings. My wedding ring, I don't really wear it anymore. I got starter in it and it's messed up with my stones. I have to get it fixed, so don't wear jewelry. But yeah, now I'm just gonna kind of shake it out. Just wobble it. It'll come out, fall out, just like that. There's still bread. Just a little bit. Nothing too crazy. Just scrape it out. Okay. So now I'm gonna put some flour on my hands, just so the bread doesn't get stuck to my hands. It's gonna get stuck no matter what, but just so it's not as bad. And now flatten it just a little bit, not too much. And then you're gonna grab one end, fold it not all the way over. You're gonna make a trifold. And then you're gonna grab one end and just roll it in on itself all the way down. And then pick it up, and I always turn it to where everything that's rolled is facing me. This is the hardest part, is learning the hands. You have to put your hands, and it kind of has to roll in on itself. And then I always grab it from here and I turn and place it down. And then again, roll to me. Pick it up, place, and roll. This took me a very long time to learn. Trying to get it to turn and everything, it's not easy. This is probably going to be the most stressful part. There's my bread, and I'm just going to plop it down, and that's it. It's simple once you get it, but learning how to roll it is the hardest part. Okay, they're all rolled out. I'm gonna clean my hands, and then these, well, the one pro of this, you can put the towel over and then put it in the fridge. These will still rise in the fridge. So I'm gonna clean up, put them in the fridge, and I will come back in the morning and show you how I bake them. Good morning, it's 6:30. I usually bake bread at 5 a.m., but I decided to sleep in today. I'm gonna turn on my oven. My Dutch ovens are inside, so you want your Dutch oven to be inside when it's preheating, so they'll already be hot. I sometimes have the lids up on the other rack while they're warming up. It really doesn't make much of a difference. I've never noticed a difference, but have your Dutch ovens inside your oven, okay? And then you're gonna put it, turn it on, and put it to 450. And then just wait. And that's when I usually grab the silicone
mats. So you have 3 of them. I only have 2 Dutch ovens, so I usually get these, place them on the counter, and then I go and get my bread from my fridge. Okay, I just grabbed my 2 breads. They did rise more, which is we usually do. Another tip, if you're going to do like, okay, so I did 4. 2 of them are regular, 2 of them are jalapeno. Bake the regular ones first, because when you bake the jalapeno, and if you bake these after, there could be like a jalapeno still in the Dutch oven or something, and you don't want it on the bread. So always do the plain, everything, like even mixing, everything, do plain first, and then do your inclusion ones. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna get this, and you're literally just gonna roll it and plop it onto the silicone. And it's the same way with the towel, in a way. I'll show you when I get to that. But see, there's some flour still on these, and you're just, oh wait, I reorganized the blade. You're gonna want to get it, and you can be fancy and like have designs. I don't do that. I just make a line. So what this does is it helps vent the steam. If you don't cut it, it's gonna try to like burst a little bit. To vent, you need to at least do at least a little bit, or you could do some little lines. You could do whatever you want. I just do the little line, like a crescent moon type of situation. So now these are gonna sit until this is ready, and then I'm gonna pop them into the oven, and then they will sit in the oven for 50 minutes. And then after the 50 minutes, I will come back and talk to you about the bread. Okay, so the bread is made. I gotta show it to you. They came out really well. They're still kind of warm. I just got a crusty down my sweater. But I love making bread. And you would think, because like I got really nervous to make bread too. It's a thing, but do it. Do it. It's a lot easier than it's made out to be. So yeah, I know this is different content than what I normally make, but I really want to show that making sourdough bread is not that scary. They make it out to be terrifying, that it's really finicky, and it is, but once it clicks, and then everything is just easy peasy from here on out. So master the bread. Once you master the bread, everything else will just fall into place. So I hope you like this video. I hope you like, comment, subscribe down below if you haven't already, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.